Hello, Dr. Miaken Zeigler here with Zeigler Chiropractic, and today we are sharing a pretty popular topic when we're diving into spinal hygiene and the importance of performing foundational movements on a daily basis. Why do we care? How important is posture? We look around, if we do any type of people watching, typically we'll see some pretty imbalanced and poor structure of people and how they carry themselves. And so that would be my challenge to you as we start this workshop with spinal hygiene, foundational movements is, what does the average person look like? If you take a look outside your window, where is their head in relation to their shoulders? Could we draw a line from their ear, their shoulder, their hip, their knee, and their ankle? Where are they carrying their stress? And I think 9 times out of 10, more likely 10 times out of 10, you're going to see some pretty unhealthy posture out there. So let's just look at some pictures here. How's their posture? And when you look at their posture, do you see health or do you see disease? Okay. These are great representations of posture. We should see the shoulders line up with the hip, the knee, and the ankle. I love these postures because you see people of all ages. You see people carrying something on their head or carrying a child on their back, a purse, and they're still able to maintain healthy posture, right? So do you see health or disease when looking at these folks? What about these folks and how they are carrying themselves? You have to understand that our spine and our structure, when we are distributing our weight properly through every joint in our body, we are a divine design, right? We are not stressing any joint more than any other, and should be no problem. But when we are out of balance, think about a car driving on a road that needs to be aligned, right? And you have pulling to the left. Over time, you're going to see breakdown within that frame or those tires. It may not happen in the first couple miles, but you add 200 miles, that's where you have a problem. And so when we're talking about where degeneration takes place, it's not the major impacts that happen. It's not the fall or the car accident, right? Or the sprained ankle. It's not those incidences, but those cumulative incidences and how your body adapts over time. That's where we see breakdown and stress, right? We sprain an ankle as a child, start walking around on that sprained ankle, starts placing pressure on a knee, pressure on a hip, and hundreds of thousands of steps in that altered walking pattern. That's where you get breakdown. That's where you get an L5 disc wear and tear. So these postures likely that you're seeing here are postures that these folks have taken on over long periods of time and are causing significant stress to, could be a joint in their knee or hip, could be in their spine, could be all of them, and likely is all of them. Let's look at some more postures. Again, we want that plumb line to line up the shoulders, the hip, the knee, and the ankle. So as you're seeing this, look at this third person over. This, I think, is something that we're seeing pretty frequently, this posture. You see a pelvis that's shifted forward, okay? And then you see a head that's shifted forward. Here's the thing. What we're seeing more significantly now is some more significant rounding through this mid-back area and a head that's really shifted forward because of the use of technology. And when we have these types of posture, all the more important that we do activities and movements in our day-to-day life to counteract that. And they need to be done consistently and frequently. Okay, let's look at the next slide here. How's their posture, right? About the same age, carrying themselves very differently. you're looking at a very different health on the inside. What about these guys? If you were in the practice a couple days ago, I asked whoever was laying on the table, who do you see have some of the healthiest structure and healthiest squatting form? They said athletes, right? And they said, somebody said primates. I appreciate their creativity, but we see it in children. Children is where we see some of the best squatting form and how they're lining up their pelvis. Again, we look at, shoulders, hips, right? And guess what? This isn't just a kid thing, because if we look at, typically we see it in Asian cultures, we see, them taking on these same postures. When I was in China, I saw groups, 20, 30 people in a group squatting like this posture here. And this was very comfortable. Of course, they, that's how they typically go to the bathroom. We don't use the restroom, right? We sit down, and squatty potty has been big because as soon as you bring those knees up, it supports a more healthy digestive tract and allows for you to go to the bathroom a little bit easier. So this is not just age related. We see it in all ages. It's just how are you moving your body? And typically, in certainly the Western world, we have different types of stress. We're using our bodies very differently. And we see poor patterning and poor adaptation over time. Certainly see people who are carrying weight in areas that cause stress to posture in a body that can, contribute to arthritis and stress to joints. So check out, if you have a child at home, move like your child, right? So something went wrong. I mean, I like this picture because, we used to spend our days using our bodies. Even 100 years ago, we did a lot more manual labor, and things are very different now. Majority of our work is at a workstation, sitting in front of a computer, and we're doing that hours on end, 8, 10, 12, 14 hours a day of cumulative stress. If you were in my sitting workshop, you know how detrimental that is to our overall health, how it shortens our lifespan. Sitting is the new smoking. There's a reason for that. So we need to implement movements and exercises on a day-to-day basis, frequently, consistently, to counteract the stress related to this posture, right? Because it's really wreaking havoc on our overall stress, our overall body health, our stress levels, how resilient we are. Something's very wrong with this. So this is why we do postural movements and exercises. This is why we talk about spinal hygiene, because our question is, are you living your best life or not? Okay. Good posture is good for you. When you are holding yourself in a power presentation, when you are in good posture, that indicates probably pretty dang good sports performance. Probably have good energy, vitality, probably living in harmony. Stress reduction, we see success in terms of your ability to perceive your surroundings, and we see graceful aging, right? Bad posture is bad for you. It indicates sports injuries. We see shallow breathing, people in pain, arthritis. Arthritis goes with advanced wear and tear. We see people who need joint replacement surgery, hips, knees. It's pretty frequent and consistent when we get into the older populations. An attitude of struggle. People who are in protection mode and really rounded forward probably aren't experiencing the world compared to those who are open and ready to receive. It's a very different perception of life. See poor digestion, we see change of cardiovascular system, we see increased aging, and we see poor, elimination, right? See it impact our digestive system. So this is what I want you to remember. Bad posture is bad for you in every way. And good posture is good for you. So when you do things that support a better posture, better movement in your spine, your body, your structure, it indicates health. You are moving towards a trajectory that puts you into a health realm, right? Bad posture is bad for you. So what can we do on a day-to-day basis to counteract the stress that leads to bad posture? And that's what we call postural movements or spinal hygiene. Okay. The big one when we talk about spinal hygiene movements and exercises is to listen to your body, always. No pain, no gain is not a motto, right? I've actually seen research that shows that that's actually caused more problems than it has done good to the body. So listen to your body always. You know your body better than anyone else. And if your body is giving you signals to say, this is hurting me and it's hurting me and doing damage, it's different versus this is opening me up, putting me into a movement and a position that I'm not used to. It may be uncomfortable, but it feels good. That's different. So listen to your body and always focus on your movement. When you connect your brain to the body, that enhances that movement and that potential for improved patterning, right? Distracted movement doesn't engage the brain and body in a profound way. Awareness is needed to change your unhealthy patterns. And these are patterns that you've adapted to over time, right? So I'm 38 years old. My patterns have adapted over 38 years of life, right? I have a tendency to stand on my right side and kick out my right hip. That is where I go. And here's your first spinal hygiene tip is when you notice you're in that pattern, I want you to do the opposite. Do the opposite of what feels comfortable, because you want to reverse those unhealthy patterns. So focus is big. The next one I want you to think about is breathe. How are you using your breath, right? And I want you to breathe from your belly, so lower down. A lot of us breathe up here in the chest area. This is a shallow breath. This oftentimes can lead to stress to the front of the body, into your scalenes, can even lead to more of a sympathetic type response within our body. So when we dive our breath lower into the belly, think about blowing up a balloon into the belly. That's where you're getting a neurological change in terms of how you're changing your body response to its environment, but also using your breath along with the movement. How frequently should you be doing spinal hygiene? Every day. Think about how often your pet stretches. Every time your dog gets up, guess what? They're stretching. Every time they move, they're stretching. They stretch all the time. So frequency is vital. And our goal, if you're going to be specific with movements, is can you do them 3 times a day, right? If you're trying to open up your chest and get some upper back movements, maybe some cervical spine into the lumbar, you're doing those consistently 3 times a day. And I want you to be performing postural interruptions every 15 minutes. That's the golden standard. So if you work at a desk, whether it's standing or sitting, you should be interrupting that posture every 15 minutes. So you set an alarm, and an interruption doesn't have to be a big deal, right? It can be standing, it could be doing a chair squat, it could be doing some movements on a disc or bouncing on a ball, could be going to get some water, going to the bathroom, right? Posture interruption doesn't have to be a planned thing. It's just moving your body and getting out of, a seated posture. You can go into sitting, standing. You could do a lunge type presentation. You can do on your knees, just move, okay? All right, so the first posture exercise I want to go over is called a Superman extension. Now think about how we live our life. Everything is in front of us. So everything in this is our world, and most everything pulls us forward, okay? And so when we are pulled forward, this is a different experience. It is bad posture, bad for the body, and actually it's bad for the brain. And so Superman extension is going to activate the entire back of the body and get you into extension. And so I am actually going to show you a video of me doing one of these extension exercises, and I'm going to talk you through it as we go through it. So let me see here. I'm going to share this one. So this is called the Superman extension. I'm going to hit, you're going to lay flat on the ground. And what you're going to do is you're laying flat on the ground, your palms are going to be opened up, and you're going to extend back. Okay, you're going to keep your chin at about 45 degrees, and you're going to feel your entire back, your glutes, and the back of your legs, so your hamstrings activated. And you're going to hold this for 10 seconds, and then you're going to repeat. Okay, so again, with these Superman extensions, you're lifting your chest. You may not lift up this high. You may go, you know, barely lifting up. I want you to get some extension into that back of the body. You may go up even higher, but really thinking about squeezing the shoulder blades back, the glutes together, and lifting that chest forward. And again, keeping your face, your neck relaxed. That's the big thing. Okay. So let's go back to, that is called Superman extensions. And again, start on a flat surface. You can do this on an exercise ball. You pull your arms, your shoulders, your chest, and head off the floor and hold. You're going to hold this for 10 seconds. Okay, you'll feel it in the back, the glutes, and the hamstrings. You're going to keep your face, your arms, and your shoulders relaxed. You're going to do 5 of these. Okay, so holding for 10 seconds, doing 5 of those. This is a great postural exercise to activate the entire back of the body to start holding you back. Okay. Next foundational exercise, seated pelvic tilts. Now, these are some of my favorite movements that I am always recommending. This is great for the lumbar spine. And we're just going to go into the exercise right away so that you can see this one right here. So with pelvic tilts, okay, you can see that I am doing them on a disc right now, but you don't have to be on a disc. You can just be on a chair, you can be on a mattress, you can be on a ball. And as you're doing this, you're going to keep your rib cage held in, and you're going to tuck your pelvis under, right? You're going to round out that low back, and then you're going to extend that low back. Okay, we're going to watch that again. I want you to think about where your head is in space, where your shoulders are in space. Here's the thing about this movement. This pushes fluids into the disc in the spine. Okay, this unloads and loads the disc of the spine and helps with recovery of stress. It helps rehabilitate any type of trauma into the ligaments, the tendons, the muscles of the lumbar spine. This is a foundational movement I want you guys doing all the time, every day. Okay. And as you suck that pelvis, or if you tuck that pelvis under, you'll feel the front of your abdominal muscles reaching towards the front of the spine. So you're engaging that belly button is not sucking in with your breath, but it's tucking back as you're engaging, drawing it in to the front of your spine. Okay, pelvic tilts. You can work up to doing 120 of these every day. Okay, I love pelvic tilts. You don't have to start here, but 120 a day is really great for lumbar spine health and just overall spinal hygiene health. Okay, you can do this right now as you're watching together. Okay, moving on. So we've done Superman extensions. We've gone over pelvic tilts. And the next one that we're going to cover is seated thoracic extension. I love this one. So with seated thoracic extension, what you are going to be working on is opening up the chest and getting a stretch through the chest and activating the back of the body. Okay, so the next one we will watch as I walk you through this. It's right here. as we watch. So you're going to be on a stool, right? You're going to be on a stool, and I want you're going to put your hands up around your neck. Elbows are going to be coming shoulder height, and you're going to rest those on the desk or a table. Okay, and you're just going to use that roller chair, that ball, and you're going to rock back as you allow for some extension to take place into that chest. Drop that chest forward, and you'll feel a nice stretch to the mid-back. Now, one thing you'll notice, you see how my back is flat? That's what I want you to do. I don't want any rounding. So you saw when I started that movement or exercise, I hinged at the hips. Okay, so if you're watching me on the screen here, you're hinging at the hips, you're not rounding this way. So you're going to be thinking about hinging. Kick out that butt and hinge and keep that back flat. Okay, so we'll watch it one more time. This one will feel lovely. So hinge at the hips, elbows come up, shoulder height. Just rest your hands in the back of your neck, and then use that stool or that exercise ball to drop straight back. Okay, great exercise. You are going to love this one. Okay, next one that we're going to cover, okay, is child's pose or upright child's pose. Now, this is simulating those movements that we saw with the kids who were in that squatting position, or those folks who, typically from Asian countries, who squat all day. Child's pose is great for getting some movement and mobility into the hips. And so some people can't do child's pose laying on the ground. Some people just find that challenging. That's okay. That's where I'm going to show you an alternative to child's pose where you're upright. So child's pose. Let's just watch this one. So you'll see me sitting back on my heels. You'll open up the knees, and then you'll just lean forward, okay? And you can just sit here and breathe into this. It's really lovely and nice. If you want to stretch out through the rib cage, you can reach to one side, go ahead and put your hand on top of the other, and just stretch and drop into your belly. This is really quite lovely. And again, not only are we getting a stretch through the back here, we're also getting and working into those hips. So that's really lovely. I think most people know how to do or have seen child's pose, but again, you're opening up the knees to open up the hips and dropping forward, breathing into this. And you can stay here for, 30 seconds if it feels nice, and go to one side. You can use your chest and upper body to really stretch and pull as you drop your chest down in between your knees. Now, if we're talking about an upright child's pose, this one's a little bit different. And again, when we do this one, we're really working to get movement and mobility through your hips, okay? So there's a couple modified versions to get into this. You'll see me using a chair to drop down, okay? But what you're going to want to do is you want to keep your heels on the floor. Some people find this really challenging, so want to stay on the toes, okay? So make sure your heels are wide enough to stay on the floor. And okay, here's another modified, again, hinging at the hips, dropping down, and then using that wall to hold yourself into this posture. And you can see how I'm standing or sitting upright into that posture. Sometimes it's hard to flex forward, so you can slide down on a wall and drop down right into that posture. Okay. So I'm showing you these as options, but once you get into your upright child's pose, you're going to hang out here. You hang out here for 30 seconds. You can hang out here for a minute. But again, we're really working into getting mobility and movement into the hips. And the goal is over time to see if you can get to the floor to get that movement in. Okay. So modified, again, watch me as I hinge at the hips, keeping my back flat. Keep back flat, I'm not rounding forward, and I'm dropping down, putting my weight back into my heels, and here we are. So second option, and then the last option here. Number 3 is and again, you see my heels aren't right on the door. Okay, they're away from the door so I can slide down. Okay, so that is upright child's pose. Next. These next couple are really easy. Glute squeezes. So again, when we are so far forward and everything pulls us forward, the back of our body isn't engaged properly. So the goal is to just squeeze your glutes and do 100 squeezes a day. You can do it seated, you can do it standing, you can do it anywhere, right? You can do it while you're cooking, while you're at work. Just squeeze your glutes, both sides, hold and release, and build up to 100. The next one are for the wrists. Wrist extension, okay? I think we've got one more after this. So with wrist extension, I'm gonna go back to my videos here. And with wrist extension, these are going to feel lovely, especially if you are working at a desk, working on a computer. Okay, but what you're going to do is you're going to take flat palms, you're going to set them right on top of your desk, make sure those fingers are spread wide, you're going to lock your arms, and then you're going to use your body weight to put those wrists into extension. Okay. As you're doing this, you're going to spread your fingers and try and put all of your weight through all of those fingers. After you do wrist extensions, then you're going to do wrist circles. You're going to go clockwise and then counterclockwise. This is going to feel really nice for your wrists. Okay, I'm going to watch that one more time. Okay, so with wrist extensions, again, palms flat, spread those fingers out, use your body weight to go into extension. Okay. And when you're using your body weight, I love this because you can use as much or as little, but whatever feels right for you. And then doing the same thing, doing wrist circles, both clockwise and counterclockwise. Okay, your body will love you for this. So how many reps is the question? So with the wrist extensions, hold for 10 seconds and do 3 repetitions, build up into that, because sometimes these guys can be pretty stressed. And if we put any type of extension or even flexion into these, it can be intense. So I want you to build up to doing more repetitions. And then as you do those clockwise, counterclockwise movements, you do 5 reps each direction. Okay. All right, the last one, spinal toothbrush. Now everyone has a wall. And so I love using the wall as a way to see how to engage your posture appropriately. And the goal is, as you are doing the spinal toothbrush, you can actually step away from the wall and engage your spine properly, like it's meant to. And then you can do it in movement and motion. So with the spinal toothbrush, heels are going to go against the wall, butt goes against the wall, shoulders go against the wall, head goes against the wall. And you're going to start by bringing your shoulders back, okay, and dropping your shoulder blades down. Your chest is going to come forward. You're going to tuck your abdominals, your abdomen slightly to draw that, similar to the pelvic tilt, draw that belly button back towards the spine. So you're going to engage that appropriately, okay? So you see me dropping my shoulders back, my chest comes forward. As my chest comes forward, my chin and head automatically come back. Here I'm drawing in my pelvis to engage the front part of my abdominal muscles. And then I'm opening up my shoulders and letting my back of my palms rest against that door there. So let's watch this one more time. So shoulders come back, drop those shoulder blades down, chest comes forward. Okay, as my chest comes forward, you see my head comes back. I'm engaging my abdomen here, reaching towards the front of the spine, opening up the shoulders, bringing it so the thumbs are facing outward. Make sure your knees are relaxed. Okay, one more time because there's a lot to take in with this one. Shoulders come back, drop the shoulder blades down, chest comes forward. Okay, as the chest comes forward and lifted, then the head comes back. Here I'm drawing in my abdomen towards the front of the spine and opening up so my thumbs face outward. Okay, this one's gonna feel really nice. Again, getting extension into the back, which is important. The Superman's different from Spinal Toothbrush. Here we've got gravity, you know, working with, we're weight bearing, gravity's vertically working with our structure. And so we want to change how our body is held in space while we're activating the back of the body as opposed to laying down on our tummy. Okay, so we've gone over some really great movements and exercises. And they can be really phenomenal if you start introducing these into your movements on a daily basis. Back to the spinal toothbrush. The goal is to hold this position for 10 seconds and complete it for 10 repetitions. You do any of these, pick 2 or 3, right? You're going to experience just some movement and flexibility within your structure and spine. It's going to feel really amazing. So that's my challenge to you, is pick one of these, pick all of these, and just see how your body does. You don't have to do all of the recommended hold times or repetitions. Just see how your body moves and does, because that's where you start. You know, any exercise regimen, just start with 1 or 2 a day, but pick out the ones, and then you can start adding to it. If you can get into doing 5 to 10 minutes a day of spinal hygiene movements, whether it's at one time or cumulatively, you're going to be feeling different and you're going to be moving different, which can be really amazing. So I know I went I'm close to going over here, but this is what I want to end with. The time to address this is now. So will you join me in improving your health, improving your structure and your movement? Bad posture is not common. Well, bad posture is common, but it's not normal. You see a lot of bad posture out there. Bad posture is bad health, bad for your body. It is bad for your brain. So when you have a more vibrant, flexible structure, your spine, your body, your posture, they're vital components to your health, to aging, to your expression of life. And so, you know, I would be honored to help support you in your journey as a chiropractor. If you're getting chiropractic already, great job, right? We're getting specific movement into your spine. And here, when you add this outside of your adjustments, you're getting really great movement into your structure. And more consistently you are with this, the healthier you are. Okay, I'm here partnering with you. I'm doing the same things. I'm working on it just like you are. So I love and appreciate you. Thanks for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you in the office where you can show me, you know, some of the spinal hygiene movements you're adopting. So love and light, and I'll see you in the office.